some of Powell's sentiments for today, or what are some things we should take home and we should pay attention to? Okay. First things that he said is that he sees the effects of higher rates on the housing market and surveys in durable buying. Meaning what we just covered, Powell is seeing it. So don't think he's paused the last two sessions for nothing. No, they know what they're doing. Eventually, homeowners are going to bring down those prices. And the more they bring them down eventually, the feds too, everything is correlated. The feds too eventually will drop. So right now there is a pause, and he will, I think, pause or slash in December. We'll see first week of December. A month from today, we'll reconvene and talk about interest rates. We'll see what will happen there and how specifically buyers are forced to then bring down prices. Because if you make your product too expensive and no one's coming to purchase it, you'll be forced to bring it down. The next things that Powell went into is that the question we are asking is, should we hike more? Meaning, if the certain monetary policies that they are taking are not working or are not causing this bubble to burst. As you know, some people call the housing bubble bursted eventually. If the hikes that they are hiking up to are not forcing producers or ourselves to bring the prices of ourselves more down, force us to spend less and maintain our own cost/standard of living, they're going to have to hike in more until the whole economy just slows down for a moment. And this is also an effect of them keeping interest rates at the same time, them printing too much money at the same time too. Because if too much money is in circulation, it's not sustainable. Let's say, for example, if you go from earning 100K a year and you increase to being paid 200K a year, your cost of living then goes up. Because you're not going to be eating at Nando's. You want to go to Steak 48 sometimes and grab yourself a nice piece of steak. But if you find yourself that, oh, you're not only just eating a Steak 48, now you know the personal shopper in Saks, and now you're flying first class everywhere, your cost of living is increasing. Eventually, that new paycheck is not going to add up to your cost of living. It may even end up worse, that now you have to decrease your lifestyle in order to meet your cost of living, okay? And that's what went wrong too with COVID. They overprinted money in circulation, that it was not sustainable for PPP loans that they gave out for them to continuously give them out, because it wasn't certain of what may come. So he went on to say that GDP has been strong, but the forecast in terms of growth is very slow. Meaning, much as, okay, the economy may be booming due to an increase in interest rates, because whoever is lending people money is getting much more money back. People are unable to spend as much as they used to out of the money that is being given to them. Groceries that you used to purchase for $80, now you only get 3-4 things. That's it. So meaning the forecast is slow as in terms of the growth of the economy, okay? He then went on to say that the public believes that the inflation will come down. That's a critical in them winning the battle. Meaning, like we all say, man, we can't wait for these rates to go down. We just discussed interest rates on cars, on houses, or even credit cards. We tell ourselves, man, when is this rates going to go down? So the feds really see that too right here. The feds are like, okay, the public has been waiting for us to decrease inflation, like about time, when is it coming down? So they also have that in their minds, like, we have to win this battle some way, because we can't just keep increasing until it goes down. Now, this is another key point that Powell said. Labor demand still exceeds supply. Meaning when all they say so many jobs are in circulation, there's so many jobs that are opening. Yeah, they're jobs, but the people that are qualified for those jobs, people with certain degrees or qualifications, can't be telling them to always do the same job. So the labor demand is heavily there, especially people. I know there's some millennials that are currently struggling to find certain jobs, or Gen Zs that are struggling to find jobs, because the competition currently is with people that are fresh out of high school, of college, or even high school, let's say, competing against people that have been laid off that have experience in those certain fields for 20 years. So the labor demand exceeds the amount of supply that is there for everyone to currently get a job. So they see this stuff. And then there's one thing that he ended off with, whereby he says it's going to take some time for inflation to come down. For Powell to say that it's going to take some time for inflation to come down, can anyone tell me what that may mean to them, just as an individual? For Powell to say it's going to take some time for inflation to come down. Do we think that we reached the bottom last week, or are we still in a bear trap, in a bull trap? He has no idea. So when people say, oh no, we're done, the market is heavily bullish right now, the Feds really tell us stuff that I think they make it dismissive, and a lot of people don't tend to pay attention to those certain, because he's legit giving us a signal right here too that states that it was going to take some time for inflation to come down. Labor demand still exceeds supply. What are the main indicators of economical growth? GDP, PCP, PCE, PPI, CPI. And if he's saying that those things that determine our GDP growth are not doing so well, what makes you think that we're back in a bullish market? So we're nowhere near yet. Do we have any questions? Any questions, guys? No questions? Does anyone want to give an opinion? Or anything that they're concerned about, or some of the things that they learned from today? No one learned anything today? Okay. Well, then we should all make sure to make informed decisions before we go ahead and we purchase certain things that we need. If you're thinking about going to go get a new credit card, if you're thinking about to potentially sign new mortgages or get new car loans or payments, this is something that we really have to make informed decisions on. And I hope we all understand what interest rates are, not just in terms of like, oh, the interest rates keep going up. We now look at ourselves like, if it was us and we have an allocated amount of goods and resources for certain things, and we're running out in certain sectors, what are we going to do to bring up that money in sectors? And I think the hardest part people find in understanding governmental policies or the theory of it is that they take themselves away from it. Always look at yourself as an example. If you hear something out there that's like, okay, this is economics, and they say GDP is strong, but the forecast is slow, what does that mean? You have to think of yourself as you're the consumer, or you're the producer and you're trying to serve a consumer. Then that will help break it down easier. Any questions before we call it a night? No problem, Chino. No problem, Jen. No problem, guys. All right, if there are no further questions, Martin, do you have anything to add?
No. That's nothing from my side. I think this has been a great, a class and education, and definitely one we can definitely continue running back depending on, what we see as the economy changes. Obviously, we do not control interest rates. We know who does, but, we just have to bring back the information. And I'm glad you ended it on this last slide as well, because this definitely talks about a lot what was covered today.